All right, and we're joined with Ronnie Manning from Yubico, the maker of the YubiKey. How are you, Ronnie?
Good.
Good.
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for taking the time. I wanted to hopefully talk a little bit about the YubiKey and what it is and who Yubico is. Would you
Okay,
mind
sounds
sharing
great.
some information?
Yeah, so Yubico is a hardware authentication company. What we created is a device that is called the YubiKey. I can show it here. So what this is, as I said, is a hardware authenticator. So think different than a mobile phone, such as an SMS or a push app that's going to be on your phone. When you set these up with your applications and services, you actually use this as either a second factor mechanism to get in. So you're probably used to logging into something and you get a text and then you got to put that code
Right,
in.
like the bank.
With exactly. With these devices, when you have it synced to an account, instead of having to go through that process, I simply have to touch this device that's going to verify that it is me trying to log into this service and then securely authenticate me in.
Makes sense. It sounds like a great idea. Um, so what happens though if you lose that key? How does that, because it's like a key to your house, right?
Exactly. And we actually like to think of it in that mindset, similar to a house key or a car key, that you have multiple, right? So the majority of services allow you to register multiple keys. So a lot of times someone will have one or two, or maybe even three. They'll make one a primary. And when you're going in and you're setting these keys up with these services, you're actually able to register multiple at a time. So I'd have one that would be my primary, one that could serve as a backup, and then another that, I may keep in the safe or something along those lines. But we do get that often, and it's kind of that same mentality that you're normally not going to have just one key to your car or your house, and it has that same value to have multiple to be able to log in online into websites.
And is it like a credit card? Like if I lost my credit card, I can call my bank and say, hey, cancel that credit card? Or is it once I make it, it's locked?
So not like a credit card in that way. When you register a key with a service, it's unique in the fact that I can use this key with hundreds of different services. I don't need to do one key per each. If someone were to find these devices, there's nothing identifiable on it, so no one can pick this up and say, "Oh, this is Ronnie's key to whatever service." So you don't have to worry about it in that sort of manner.
Gotcha.
But it is on me as a person. If I do lose this, then I would go into the services. I would revoke that particular key that I lost and then be able to add another one.
Perfect. So being able to take away the permission for that key if someone found it or
Exactly,
something like that.
exactly. Within the services and applications, you can remove individual keys should you misplace.
Now, this technology sounds awesome. How long has it been around?
Yubico was actually founded in 2008. And these keys have gone through quite an evolution. They initially came to market just producing one-time passcodes. You'd be able to use it with a long character string to log you in, but they have always had the same design. A unique thing about these is that they actually require a physical touch to
Oh,
work. So when I go and I try and log into a machine, it will request that I physically touch the key. It'll pull a bit of electricity from my finger that'll complete the circuit on the device, trigger it, and then it'll put out whatever code is desired to have to log in. So throughout the years, these keys have advanced in form factors. We have many different form factors. One's made specifically for iPhone, ones that support NFC for near field communication that you can use just by touching to the back of a mobile device, and then some really small form factors to leave in, and then keychain form factors as well. So, we've been around for some time, but the keys do continue to evolve and modernize.
so how secure is the technology though?
It's very secure. As I mentioned before, uh, as I make a unique key pair with a service, it's based on public key cryptography. So there's going to be a private key and a public key. And whenever I touch this device, that's going to complete that key pair and log me in. So it isn't something that's extractable from this device. And as I mentioned before, someone can't grab this key and pull any information about it that's going to be related to me or to where this key is being used. And all of the information on these devices are secured within a secure element.
Perfect. That sounds awesome. So I know that recently there's been an announcement that Facebook brought in support for this. Why is it important for someone who uses Facebook or maybe any other social network that they should be using a YubiKey or something like it?
Absolutely. So Facebook has actually had support for security keys since I believe about 2007, but this has only been on the desktop.
I see.
Or I'm sorry, 2017. Geez, I just lost a decade there. But that has only been on the desktop. So what they recently announced is support for mobile as well. So this would be, if I'm on a desktop and I set up this key to log in, when I try and log into my Facebook app on my mobile device, it's going to prompt me to either touch the key to the back of the phone or insert that key into a lightning port or a USB-C port, then touch that device to be able to log in. But Facebook is one of many social media. Twitter just recently expanded their support to allow for multiple keys. Anything with under the Google umbrella, which would be YouTube. There's a lot of people that make a living off of YouTube videos. There's a lot of people that make a living off of other social media platforms. And this is as important to protect as your bank accounts, as other personal information, because you don't want people to be able to get into your social accounts. And for an individual, it's stealing your information, it's getting your personal information, it's potentially damaging your personal brand. But then for businesses as well, it's equally as important, because every business now has a Twitter account.
Yeah.
Every business now has a Facebook account, and you want to make sure that you're making access to those only to a limited few who has kind of that best practice of security and highest level of security, so that others aren't able to get into those accounts.
Well, speaking of security, I know passwords are a big thing that everyone's now working from home with the pandemic, and
Absolutely.
Let's just say password hygiene isn't always top of mind. How does the YubiKey work with passwords? Can it help people be more secure with a password? Can it replace a password altogether?
Yeah, so I can take that in a couple different ways. So historically, we've worked with many of the password managers out there, which would be Dashlane, LastPass. We work with about 20 or so. So you're able to set up the YubiKey as a second factor to log into that password vault. So if I'm going and I'm using Dashlane, for example, and I go in and someone were to get my login credentials of that, they'd have to have this physical key in order to get in. Secondarily, the work that we're doing with authentication protocol that's called FIDO2. This is where we're actually working with organizations such as Microsoft and others and the FIDO Alliance to actually eliminate the dependency on passwords altogether.
Wow.
So you're able to do login flows where that user credential is actually on this device. And it can be, a username, and then I'm prompted to touch my key to log in, but it's truly working to remove the dependency on passwords, because we all know that they're extremely difficult. Each service that you sign up to, you have to create a new, unique, crazy one. And, the password managers themselves are a great resource, but, we're working to move beyond that step to where that dependency can be removed altogether, and really basing it on really high security.
It sounds like a utopia. Now, I know you said there's a few different models. Can you just go through which models there are and what would be the right?
I can show you some of these. So
sure.
We have multiple keychain models. So this is going to be USB-A, this is USB-C, and all of these support multiple authentication protocols. So you're able to use this as a one-time password generator, as a time-based one-time password, similar to like a Google Authenticator, something along those lines. They support FIDO U2F. They support FIDO2, which are modern cloud-based authentication open standards, and also a smart card, general smart card, which is the PIV standard as well that these support. Then we have others that this one's made specifically for iPhone. It has a Lightning connector on one side and USB-C on the other. And then these two smaller ones, these are these nano form factors. So all the same functionality minus the NFC for the mobile, but all the same protocol support. And these actually plug in and barely poke out on the side of the machine. So whenever you need to authenticate into a service, it just becomes a habit of touching the side of your device and you're logged in.
And those are USB-A or are they USB-C available?
USB-A and USB-C. Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's options for both of the nanos there.
Amazing.
They're both really small. Yep.
Oh yeah, it looks really thin. And now what's the price point of something like this? And is it like for the general consumer to get one of these, or should they wait for their corporate or their corporation to give them something like this?
Yeah, yeah. So they run about $45 is kind of an entry price for one of the YubiKey 5 series, which is the more packed, more feature packed devices. We do have FIDO only keys, which run about $23. Those will allow you to do anything that supports FIDO U2F and FIDO 2, which would be Google, Facebook, Dropbox, Twitter. You know, you can just keep naming. We have a whole list of supported services on our website. Um, for personal use, yes. If you're using these and you're using them with a password manager, we highly recommend using a device like this to secure it. If you're using social media, absolutely yes. But one of the great things about these is because you're able to use these on so many applications and services, a lot of our customers empower their employees to take the devices that they're using at work to get into those systems, take them home, go with the learnings that you're having at work to protect yourself with multi-factor authentication, take this same device home and use it on your personal account. So
Oh,
we
that's
see a
great.
lot of that joint usage, you know, people using keys, a single device for both work and personal accounts. But, you know, as more and more services come on board, these are gaining a lot of traction within the prosumer and the consumer space.
Yeah, last I checked, I thought there was like over 1,000 services, right?
It's up there. It's
Yeah,
up
it's
there.
a
And,
lot.
and it continues to grow.
And if so, people would like to get one. Where would they? How would they get one? Do they go to their Best Buy, Amazon, your website? What's the best place?
The best place to get it is on our website, which is yubico.com, which is yubico.com. We have a store there that you're able to go through and purchase. Alternatively, we do sell these devices on Amazon as well.
Fantastic. Well, Ronnie, I appreciate the time and the clarification about it. It seems like a really amazing product that especially anyone who's working from home or anyone who has social media should be using.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. This is John. Here's a couple other videos that you might like, and feel free to subscribe.